easy to handle.
This is Channel 6 for the Heartland, WOWT, Omaha. Now, Gary Kerr, Pat Prasad, Dave Weber Sports, and Chief Meteorologist Jim Flowers. This is the Channel 6 News at 6.
The second time in 3 months, a young woman is killed in a southwest Omaha apartment.
Tonight's 6 o'clock lead, the latest on the Heartland homicide. Good evening, everyone. Once again, the murder of a woman in a southwest Omaha.
Their own seed corn.
Closed captioning for the hearing impaired is made possible by your local Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep.
You're watching Channel 3, KMTV Omaha. Now, at 5 o'clock, this is News Center 3.
Good afternoon, I'm Loretta Carroll. You might Center 3 at 5 o'clock. Coca-Cola is serving up a new drink for people who are tired of Diet Coke. And your money reporter with a warning about a potential danger in your child's bedroom.
You're watching News Center 3 at 5 with John Mason, Loretta Carroll, Chief Meteorologist Kerry Coleman, and Rich Roberts with sports on Channel 3, KMTV.
For seniors.
This is KQ2's News Watch, the Midland Empire's #1 source for news.
Good morning, it's Thursday. In regards to construction in our area, we'll show you their plans.
But first we'll take you to Worth County, where a highway there is causing some problems. That story is next.
You're watching KQ2's News Watch with Deborah Romps and Doug Kressler, meteorologist Mike Brasiano, and sports director John Myers.
This is WGN-TV, Chicago. Live from Chicago's very own, this is WGN News at 9.
I am voluntarily dismissing these claims of my own free will and with no pressure or threats from anyone.
That's the news Joseph Cardinal Bernardine has been waiting to hear. Tonight, his accuser, Stephen Cook, has retracted charges of sexual abuse. Good evening. I'm Steve Sanders.
And I'm Allison Payne.
You're watching the Heartland's News Channel, KTVO. Now, Channel 3's award-winning regional news team brings you News 3, Late Edition.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Robertson.
And I'm Melissa Kravitz, filling in for Marlene Spees. Local farmers...
This is CBS.
Right now, you can see today. With news from the tri-states you can count on. This is KHQA's Eyewitness News Tonight. With Carol Sowers, Richard Albin, meteorologist Gary Gleichman, and sports director Rick Thurtle. People you can count on.
A major two-vehicle accident on Highway 61, 2 miles south of New London early this afternoon caused huge traffic problems, but apparently just minor injuries. Good evening, I'm Carol Sowers.
I'm Richard Albin. A diesel straight truck carrying...
Good evening, I'm Brenda Good. Coming up next on News Channel 10, more than 700 Democrats are gathering in Hannibal this weekend to meet face-to-face with those they helped to elect. We'll have a full report from this grassroots event. Men's Restaurant remains closed today after its workers went on strike. You'll hear from demonstrators on both sides of the labor issue. Tony Shaw has all the day's sports and your complete weather forecast next on News Channel 10.
This is WGEM-TV Channel 10. From the Tri-State's best news. This is News Channel 10 Weekend Edition.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Missouri Democrats are...
This is KTVT, Channel 11, Fort Worth, Dallas. And now, Mitch Hill, Ken Malloy, Kurt Menefee on sports, and meteorologist Bob Guzman in the weather. This is the 9 o'clock news.
It's primary election day in Texas, and the votes are in. But this was the scene at most voting sites today. A low turnout was expected, and the bad weather didn't help. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. While the primary candidates battle each other,
Good morning, I'm Carlos Amesqua. A traffic accident leaves 8 dead and 7 people injured.
I'm Barbara Beck. More gruesome finds in England's Garden of Death.
I'm Mark Krisky. The marine layer will continue to affect the Southland weather. Details of traffic and the forecast coming up.
I'm Eric Spillman in Granada Hills. How are your kids doing in school? A new test provides some results that may surprise you.
I'm Sam Rubin in the Channel 5 newsroom. Do you want to be a screenwriter? Well, Steven Spielberg may want to hire you. Plus, what is the deal with Carlos's encounter with Janet Jackson? We'll hear from Janet. You won't believe what she has to say. It's coming up in the entertainment report.
Plus, a dog who rose from the dead on this Wednesday, the 9th of March, 1994.
Live, the #1 morning news program in Southern California. Barbara Beck, Carlos Amezcua, Mark Krisky, Eric Spillman, Michelle Ruiz, Sam Rubin, Jim Newman, and Jennifer York in Skycam 5. This is the KTLA Morning News.
I know I've been answering for that for the last...
you
hey,
have?
let's just be happy that Chuck's back. This makes
I
it a
am
pretty
so
day.
happy Chuck's
That's
back.
it.
Even though I
This
wore
makes
my
it-
tie that everybody's been complaining about all morning.
It's okay.
Even though you're early and I
Barbara
barely have
came
time
and
to get
kill
over
it. It
here.
looks like a garter snake.
I know.
Kill that thing.
It's not a
It looks like it's going to crawl away.
Yeah.
It's a very
Look at that, doesn't it?
kind of a statement. Yeah.
Looks like a snake.
Well, I promised everybody, though, just a day to kill all days yesterday and all that kind of stuff, and it really did.
Life is really what counts.
In New York, this is the Channel 11 News at 10 with Tiny Tom, Jack Capital, Jerry Gerard, and Mr. G.
Good evening. The verdict is in. A Colombian man has been found guilty of the murder of crusading anti-drug journalist Manuel.
Why? Tonight at 11 on Denver's 2.
A miserable night to be on the road in parts of Colorado.
Up next on Channel 2 News tonight, we'll have the latest as dense fog along with icy rain and snow create lots of problems in the metro area.
Also tonight, the Whitewater investigation grows more intense as the president strikes back. We'll have a full report for you.
And it looks like a MASH unit will begin treating patients in downtown Denver even if they don't have permission.
Those stories in a live report from Rocky Spring Training.
Channel 2 News is next.
From KWGN-TV, Denver's 2, your first late newscast with Dave Young, Beverly Weaver, Al Fogelman with weather, and Jim Conrad with sports. This is Channel 2 News.
Much of the Front Range is on accident alert tonight, and this is why. Cold, icy weather has moved into parts of Colorado, making travel treacherous for motorists, especially here on I-70 near Genesee. Good evening, I'm Beverly Weaver.
And I'm Dave Young. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for watching KMGH-TV. This is Colorado's #1 news at 5 with Bertha Lynn, Ernie Bjorkman, Jeff Basselt on sports, and meteorologist Pam Dale. Colorado's 7 News starts now.
Here we go again. Better buckle up for another wild night on the roads. It's still snowing in some places, and roads are starting to get a little slick.
Boy, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. It may not look that bad out.
Good afternoon. I'm Adele Arakawa.
And I'm Ed Sardella. She'd been missing since October. One of her bones has been found. That story, and also today on 9 News at 5.
I'm Dan Rascone. A man loses his life to try and save his dog. I'll have a live report.
I'm Kim Kirstensen. The Arvada Reds are getting a new mascot. They dropped the term Redskins because it offended Native Americans. Now there is a call for other schools to do the same. We'll explain.
This is Ron Zappolo. For the first time this spring, the Rockies have strung together 2 solid performances.
9 News is coming up next.
From Colorado's news leader, you're watching 9 News with Ed Sardella, Adele Arakawa, meteorologist Mike Nelson, Paula Woodward, and Ron Zappolo Sports.
Good afternoon. I'm Adele Arakawa.
And I'm Ed Sardella. An attempt to save a dog costs $2. Today's testimony was...
Thanks for watching.
Now stay with us for News 4 at 5 with Amy and Bob.
And Larry.
I didn't commit a crime. I didn't do nothing. I was just a simple soldier from...
A former guard at a Nazi concentration camp says he can't understand why the U.S. wants him deported. I'm Bob Palmer, and next on News 4 at 5, his story from our Boulder Valley Bureau.
I'm Jim Benneman. It had been presumed it was a transient who chased his dog into this construction hole near Coors Field and later died. But the official identification shows the victim was someone else. I'll have the details.
I'm Ralph Allen. Some legislation at the state capitol aimed at helping children who are often the silent victims of divorce.
I'm Kimberly Drake. The pawn shop industry may have a bad rap, but those who are in it say they help solve crimes.
And the News 4 Education Expo opens in Denver. Team coverage from our education specialists. It's all ahead on News 4 at 5.
It's time for News 4, and you're with Colorado's News Channel. Bob Palmer, Amy Spoor, Larry Green, and Les Shapiro. Live on 4, this is the News at 5.
Good evening. A man who was once a Nazi guard is now fighting to stay in the United States.
You're watching TV2, the spirit of St. Louis. Now, the 2 News team live at 10.
In St. Louis and across the country tonight, people pray for Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis battling an incurable cancer. The life and death crisis for Jackie Kennedy Onassis developed quickly.
Yeah, she revealed last February that she had cancer, but there was no public indication of its critical
Live from the studios of WPSD, this is News Channel 6 Nightcast.
She brought a sense of liveliness to the White House that the country had never seen before. Now, well-wishers from around the world hope that same sense of spirit can help Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis overcome the devastating disease that puts her life in peril tonight. Good evening, everyone. One of America's most...
I love these.
Mercury dealer. You're watching WSIL TV3, Harrisburg, Marion, Carbondale, your local news source. And now, News 3 at 10. With Terry Caldwell, meteorologist Jim Razor, and Mark Kiesling on sports.
Good evening. Former First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis is clinging to life tonight. She's said to be resting comfortably in her New York...